7 FM.
Tonight, Inspector General of Police Christian Tetteh Yohuno leads high-powered police delegation to Boku following police resident clash that led to the killing of one person and injury to 2 security officers.
At the moment,
now details as the regional minister calls an emergency RECSEC meeting to find immediate solution to the impasse.
The IGP is on the way to the region, and then we're going to have a RECSEC meeting to fine-tune how to be able to bring total peace to the place. It's a bit calm, but it is not yet over.
Okay. We're live in the area with details surely here on Top Story, always brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Well, tonight, a high-powered security delegation led by the Inspector General of Police Christian Tetteh Yohuno is expected to touch down in Boku 24 hours after a renewed clash between residents and police in the area. The youth are alleged to have ambushed and attacked the police last night, shooting one officer in the arm. This followed renewed clashes on Wednesday morning that resulted in the death of one person, leaving at least 2 other security officers severely wounded. The private residence of the municipal police commander was also set ablaze during the violence. Now, you can listen to the Upper East Regional Minister, Donatus Akamugri Atanga, who spoke to me a while ago on the Pulse and Joy News, explaining what exactly led to the clash.
What happened yesterday and the early hours of yesterday and then the night is not something that one will want to witness. There was the misunderstanding between the youth and then the police personnel as regards the activities.
Okay.
And that actually caused the problems. Well, the latest from my interaction with the youth on the ground is as a result of the escort system established by the security personnel. The issue had to do with the market. You have the Boku township that used to be the business center, and because of the conflict, that enclave has been ignored. And then the Kusasi side of it decided to put up some kind of mini markets around to also engage in commercial business. And so, according to them, the people from the Mampuku side who are always in the township, some of them decide to also go into that market that has been established by the Kusasi, which they will not also understand why.
I think your voice is dropping.
I'm saying that what I'm taking from the youth on the ground is that as a result of the conflict, the Boku township used to be the market center.
Yes, yeah.
And so because of the conflict, the Kusasis have found it difficult to go there. When they go there, there are attacks. So they have decided to also establish some markets at the outskirts of the town. And so that is where the Mampusi women and some of them also try to access that market. According to the recent reports from the boys on the ground. And so when the Mampusis are coming into those markets, they are normally being escorted by the security personnel according to their allegation, and because of that, they think that it is not proper for them to be escorting them into their market.
Okay.
Because they have established the market, and for that matter, they cannot have access to the township. So equally, they do not understand why they should come to their side, and the security personnel too are not in agreement for them to act on the people if they come to the market. That is where the confrontation occurs.
Now, he says an emergency Rexed meeting is expected to take place tonight between stakeholders to restore some peace in the area.
And so the youth lost trust in the police personnel, and then they were no longer trying to tolerate the activities, and that caused that kind of problem. So the good thing is that the military were not seen as people who probably were perpetrating any activity that the youth are not happy with. And so they had a trust in the military. And so the military joined the police to ensure some kind of calm is brought. But all the same, because the youth were so angry, so they also targeted certain things, certain areas that are where the police are, and they were trying to burn them down as a reaction to what the police apparently did to them. So that is the situation. But at the moment, the IGP is on the way to the region, and then we're going to have a respect meeting to fine-tune how to be able to bring total peace to the place. It's a bit calm, but it is not yet over.
Okay. So, but let me confirm this. We understand that the house of the MP for Pusiga has been touched in a way. Have you gotten that particular information?
Well, I'm yet to have the police commander at the previous yesterday, the 9th, had to move to Pusiga because one of the personnel of the police service was attacked, and he arrived there. And so at the meeting, the respect meeting, that I will have the details as to what actually happened. But it looks like the youth are getting angry with leadership. Okay. And so because of that, if anybody says that the house of the MP of Pusiga was tight, I cannot hold this and I cannot deny for now.
Okay.
Until I get the actual report from the police commander after our briefing.
Well, so that's the regional minister for the Upper East region, Donatus Akamugri Atanga, speaking to me earlier on the post. Now, I'll take you live to the area shortly, but my colleague James Avaji has joined me in studio with a statement from the police, which has been detailing what exactly transpired between the police and the resident and what the people of Ghana should expect. James, what does the statement say exactly?
Well, Brace, so this is the statement that actually announced that the Inspector General of Police, Christian Tetteh Yohuno, is going to be in the area today, 10th of April 2025, to engage with stakeholders in the region on the grounds as well as the police. The Ghana Police Service, and I'm quoting, quote, is working with the Ghana Armed Forces. Have been working with them yesterday, 9th April 2025, to restore calm at Boku following violence involving some youth of the town and the police. Now, one person, Fuseni Idrisu, unfortunately lost his life during the incident. 5 other persons, who include 1 police officer and 1 immigration officer, sustained gunshot injuries and are on admission receiving medical attention. Some properties belonging to the police, including 2 vehicles and a rented police accommodation at Binduri, as well as houses of some of the police officers, were damaged. Security has since been intensified at Boku and surrounding communities as joint police and military patrols continue. While at Boku, the IGP and his team would also commiserate with the deceased family, visit the injured persons on admission and reach out to officers who lost their properties as a result of the violence. It ends by saying that the police would like to assure the public that the Ghana Police Service will continue to work with the Ghana Armed Forces chiefs, opinion leaders, and all other stakeholders to ensure security, law, and order at Boku. And this was issued this afternoon, signed by the Assistant Commissioner of Police and Director in charge of Public Affairs, Grace Ansa Akrofi.
Okay, let's go on the phone lines now and bring in our Upper East Regional correspondent Albert, who's joining us live with some update. Albert, so what is the situation in the area as we speak?
Brace, it will soon be curfew hours. Remember, the curfew was reviewed to start from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And so in the next 30 minutes, it should be curfew hours. And by this time, a lot of people are retiring into their various residences.
But I mean, generally, has CAM returned to the area? What is it looking like?
Yes, so CAM has returned, but I must say that it's still uneasy. From what we are learning, a lot of the youth are still visibly angry. Some of them held a press conference earlier today. In fact, they have been addressing some of the issues. We'll bring that later, but they actually expressed a lot of anger against the police. And so I would say that the atmosphere is, as the regional minister said, it's calm, but it's not over yet.
All right. So that is, Albert. But Albert, we knew that the IGP is expected in town. What do we know of that?
Yes, just before I joined, I checked. I'm told that he has not yet arrived. Some other people have said that they've been told to expect him tomorrow morning instead. It appears that some other engagements caused them to delay. And considering that it's getting very close to the curfew hours, they may have decided to come tomorrow morning instead to have enough time to address all the issues that he intends to look at before returning to Accra.
Right. So it means that the visit by the IGP will happen tomorrow, not today.
Yes, it had been planned for today, but it's been postponed to tomorrow now.
In terms of Mahama Yarige's residence, tell us exactly what you know about that particular structure.
So some of the youth, as you heard the regional minister say, they've been accusing the police of giving protection to the women from the rival faction to come into their market to trade. And some of them accused the MP of, ordering or giving the police the opportunity to do that, or asking the police to allow the women to come. And so from yesterday, when all of this started, we are told they even made such an attempt yesterday to attack his house, and the police were able to stop them. And so they made another attempt today to try and burn the house. Again, police nearby were able to move in and stop them from doing so, together with some community people. From what I learned, they had actually succeeded in even starting the fire, but it was immediately put out before it could destroy anything.
Okay. Quite interesting happening there. Let's see how this particular one travels. But we've been joined on the line by security analyst Bombande there. Let's try and get more, because he's someone who, when it comes to issues of the North, also has a lot of knowledge in how to deal with it. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us here. Now, in what is coming out, it looks like it started because one side didn't want another to come and trade in their market. How should we approach this issue, looking at the genesis of it?
Thank you, and good evening to your listeners. I think we should start off by wishing our new Inspector General of Police Godspeed and best wishes as he's embarking on an operational working visit to the Upper East region. if you talk about the market issue, which is the issue in contention, keep in mind it is secondary to the real substantive issues. But be it as it may, the genesis of it, as you use that word, and everybody knows very clearly, going back to my civil society days, one of the things we tried to do that did not succeed was to prevent a separation of a very important social space where trading, commerce, interchange takes place. And I've always viewed market spaces not just in terms of their commercial value, but in terms of the interrelationship interactions, because that is the space our women would want to check on one another at family level. Regrettably, because of its central location, the market became, if you would call it, the danger point in which a lot of the violence in the past happened with the proximity that it is at the center, in which many people then were casualties, some killed and some victims of, if we call it, injuries. And so the Zugran decided upon consultation with the traditional council as a temporal measure, not as a permanent measure, to move the market out of the center of town so that the processes of rebuilding peace and relationships could in itself become the basis of a reintegration in which the central market will begin to function again. Now, I want to be clear that these were my days in civil society. So our position then was that let the central market be a space of unity. But we also understood that once it became a firing point of intense violence, we could not do anything. In any case, we had no authority but to accept the advice. And that's how come the satellite market emerged. Now, if you look at it from that perspective, you can then understand the rest of the story. We normally say that when you tell a story, you don't say it from the middle. You tell the story from the beginning. And so it is that evolution of the market which has now reached a point in which you have heard the arguments about why the market then became a protective space for one very key stakeholder of the conflict, be protected for their purposes and not to be used by the other side. And I want to repeat that one day, my prayer would be that there will be a market where everybody would go back to. But that can only happen when you deal now with the substantive issue. So, speaking generically, this is the way I want to frame my response to your question.
Well, so, I mean, now there's this issue based on the market. The one side says, okay, but the central market was not functioning because of the issues. We've had our own market. Don't come there. But the other side is also coming there under the protection of the security services. And that is what is bringing about this. So, I mean, must the decision be that, okay, the other side, women from this side, do not go to the market? Or how can we move on from where we are?
So this is where you have to include in your analysis the suspicions, the total destruction of confidence, the deterioration of the sense of community, particularly from December 2021, that traveled throughout to the present time, in which it's no longer about access to the market, but the suspicions about what the other side brings to the market that continues to make us vulnerable and to be at the receiving end of violence, particularly when that violence is also meted out by security coordination. So without going into those details, the point I want to make is we need to move away now from the type of security coordination that was insensitive to the protection and the human rights of the people. And that does not mean we should say this lightly. I am fully aware of what it means to be in the theater of a violent conflict setting. As a security officer, as a civilian, I've been in those situations myself in the Central African Republic. But the rules of engagement are that even under extreme provocation, the duty of the peace officer is to refrain from doing anything that will bring harm to the very civilians the security people are protecting. And this is under international human rights law. It is under the respect of international human rights. And it is requiring the skill. But you see, our men and women in uniform are trained to do this. I'm not belittling the anxiety that comes with it. But the point I am trying to make is to link it that if I look at the stature of our new IGP and his experience, I want to be confident that in the immediate, the consultations he would be holding, which will be inclusive of the youth of Boku itself, will pave a way to transition from the old way of doing peacekeeping domestically to the new way in which our security agencies begin to build the networks of relationships, begins to carry along the community to understand that we are here to protect you. It is then that the rebuilding of confidence, the rebuilding of trust may begin. Before then you can talk about the resolution around a market. But let me emphasize that that is only hinging on the most substantive issue, and everybody knows it, that there was a process that traveled from December 2021, and I'm not saying this just because I'm saying it. I've been in a national security dialogue meeting, and I've heard at first hand how our former Minister for Security, the Honorable Kandapa, talked about the pressure he was under in the circumstances that evolved. And I should not probably go too much into those details because there might be a better opportunity to do so. Those pressures before the elections led to the enforced errors that created the sense of duality of a chief in Boku, which is the nerve center of violence in Boku. Until that is removed, until that illegality, which violates our constitutional dispensation,
right. Okay.
is dealt with.
So I mean, I appreciate where you're coming from, but just do this for me in just 30 seconds if you can. The regional minister, when we spoke to him, spoke about a break in trust between the residents and the police service, but they trust the military. You were speaking about how the police should build, how the security services can build trust. So in this case, when there's a break in trust between the residents and the police, what must the security services do? If you can do that for me in 30 seconds, I'll appreciate it.
I thought I responded to that. It begins with wishing our IGP well in terms of the consultations that he's going to hold as an immediate response to calm the area. The only addition I made was let us be bold and not run away from the substantive issues. And I said I wouldn't go into those details.
Right. I'm grateful to you. Emmanuel Bombande is a conflict resolution, peace building, and development professional, and you had us speak to him there. But another issue that has been on the front burner this week has to do with the embattled MP for Assin South, Reverend Tim Fojo, who we understand is yet to present himself to the NIB after a botched attempt to arrest him more than 24 hours ago. We understand the minority have been meeting on this particular matter, and I've been trying to get some audience with the speaker on the way for this particular matter. We've been joined on the line by J. Bafo Ewa, who is the MP for Menchia South. He's a member of the minority. Let's get some update from him. Grateful to you for joining us here, lawyer. What is the update from this particular whole? We understand that there was a meeting between your caucus. What's the update?
Good evening to your cherished listeners. The update is that the NIB should comply with due process of law if they want audience with the Honorable Member of Parliament and Ranking Member for Interior and Defense Committee. They should comply with due process of law, which is to write to the Speaker for the Speaker to do the necessary arrangement for that meeting to happen.
But earlier in the day, we heard that the NIB had done the right thing by applying for the MP to be released. What about
Very
that?
respectfully, by way of update from you, what is your source? Who gave you that information? Have you seen the letter?
No, but we spoke to your leader, Honorable Alexander Feomakin, on our network, who said the NIB had done the right thing by initiating the right processes.
Okay, then that must have been after our meeting, and so I don't have that information. So if that has been done, then we await the Speaker's direction.
But as of the time you were meeting between your caucus, the decision was that the NIB should do the right thing before the Honorable can present himself to the NIB, right?
Yes, in other words, don't create an exceptional situation for the Honorable Member of Parliament and Ranking Member for Interior and Defense by, not going through the channel as established by law.
And the channel as established by law is, can you give us an education, refresh our minds on
going
that?
Going through the Speaker for the Speaker to make the necessary arrangement.
Well, I would like you to hold on for me. Let's listen to your leader, Honorable Alexander Feomakin, when he spoke to us earlier in the day.
The conclusion was that a letter will be conveyed to Speaker's office, which letter I'm reliably informed is gone. So the known procedure will be followed, and we take it out from there. The hawks who are supposed to be kept on the fringes are allowed to come into the center, and all they do is to harm the gains we've made in our democratic journey. Apart from what is happening, many others in our party are facing all forms of persecution in the name of accountability. We are not against accountability, but due process would always require that the right thing as known is followed. And putting through such trauma, I think that we don't need it. And I would again call on His Excellency President Mahama to call these hawks in the government to order. We don't need them.
Right.
If you see all the plans that have been hatched against the Chief Justice and all, we know.
All right, so that is the leader, Alexander Feomakin there. So there you have it. But now we know Parliament is on recess. How soon do you expect Speaker to make pronouncement on this? So you know the way forward.
Before we go on, it is important I put on record that I never disputed anything my leader. You suggested to me that my leader had said. I said that.
But I never created that impression.
Yes, it's important because you see sometimes, there can be miscommunication or misunderstanding on the part of the listener. So it's important these things, you have the record set straight. I said that if indeed a letter has been ferried from the Bureau of National Investigations to the Speaker, we would then await the Speaker's direction in this matter. So it has to be made clear.
Okay, I hear. How soon do you expect the Speaker to make pronouncement on this so we know the way forward?
Well, very respectfully, it's within the control of the Speaker. I can't speak for the Speaker.
Okay, all right then. But can we say that the Honourable Member of Parliament is okay now? He's still in his residence and has gone anywhere? Nowhere?
He's okay.
Okay.
He's okay. I can't say where he is, but he's okay.
Okay. So that's Nana Bafweje Ewa. He is the MP for Minsha South constituency. This has been Top Story, always brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray uncoil, enjoy a holy sleep. Would cross over to the Joy News Studios where we're having a national dialogue on energy, and our focus today is on Ghana's largest power distributor, the Electricity Company of Ghana. Should it be privatized or not? You can join that particular conversation. Leave your comment on our social media platforms, and our host will share that with the rest of our viewers and listeners. Thank you for being a part of us. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. We'll meet again sometime.